Just when you thought the presidential campaign might be getting boring, the debate over bitter.
Obama and Clinton, another heated exchange.
Senator Obama's remarks are elitist and they're out of touch.
She says I'm out of touch? No, I'm in touch. I know exactly what's going on.
Last Sunday, Barack Obama went to a fundraiser in San Francisco. He was asked, according to his campaign, could he appeal to blue-collar voters, and this was his answer.
Brett, how bad is this for Obama?
It isn't good.
How big a mistake?
I think it's big because it strikes him from two directions. First, is he condescending? B, is he out of touch?
Certainly, it seems damaging to the campaign. I'm certainly saddened to hear those kinds of comments. They don't represent the thoughts of people throughout this great Commonwealth.
You know the game Guitar Hero? Very popular game, played by a lot of people in Pennsylvania. And if you're hitting all the right notes, it sounds great, it's wonderful. And then every once in a while, when you hit the wrong note or you don't get, it's this horrible clank. And this is a horrible clank.
Obama's problem is that he is a constitutional law professor. And he often speaks in a tone that tries to educate people, and of course he got in trouble.
One of the big vexing things for the Democratic elite is how the hell do working class whites ever vote Republican? We give them all the class warfare stuff, but they still seem to do it. Well, they do it on culture. And the Democrats, many of them, look at this like some kind of sociological disease to be explained away.
It's an old liberal tradition to explain away cultural and political conservatism as a personality defect, a mental disorder, some kind of irrational flight from reality, hence clinging to religion, not embracing religion.
He's not running for sociologist in chief. Right. He's running for president. So I think he wishes he hadn't said it quite this way.
This was a bad gaffe.
It was a bad gaffe. It kind of goes to the heart of the argument that Hillary Clinton is making to the superdelegates. She's saying the Republicans are going to be able to paint him as a John Kerry.
The windsurfer in a Speedo.
Kind of elitist, effete.
Latte drinking, Volvo driving.
Part of the problem here is that where he gave those words in San Francisco.
We should point this out. He said this in a San Francisco fundraiser.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Rich San Francisco Democrats. And it reflects the kind of Democrat that loses at the presidential level.
This is a man who went to Iowa and commiserated with Iowans over the cost of arugula at Whole Food stores, of which there are none in Iowa.
Brings you back to Michael Dukakis going to Iowa in 1988 and talking about Belgian endive, Mark.
Endives, Belgian endives, remember that? And the 88 campaign? We didn't know what endives were, let alone Belgian endives. Now he's talking about arugula from Whole Foods.
He's also a community organizer, someone who's made the sacrifice to go out there to help the same workers who are now worried that he might be out of touch.
This is a man who was raised by a single mother, who volunteered to work in one of the poorest neighborhoods of Chicago, who spent his whole life working with the disenfranchised.
I think it raises questions about whether he does have a kind of elitist attitude toward people who come from very different backgrounds from him, he being the one with the more elite background.
But he comes from very humble origins, Barack Obama.
I mean, this is a guy who just finished paying his student loans, who was raised by a single mother and his grandparents, who doesn't know what it's like to have $100 million.
I think this is who he really is, and it really fits with, I think, some of a model that says, you know what, he's not in touch with people. His wife, they're somewhat distant, and they look down their noses at people who are trying to make a go of it in this
All right, well,
his whole life story is the story of America, overcoming tremendous obstacles, growing up in very modest circumstances, getting scholarships and achieving and winning. He didn't have someone go ahead of him and pave the way for him. He had to overcome a lot.
Do you see him as someone who is culturally elite?
I think he's a good person. But these comments are subject to misinterpretation. They took that one soundbite and they just beat it and beat it and beat it. And this is the kind of look what the Republicans did here in the last 48 hours.
Senator Clinton has pounced.
Hillary Clinton, of course, pounced immediately.
Clinton, not surprisingly, went after Obama big time.
People of faith whom I know don't cling to religion because they're bitter. In fact, they embrace their faith because it gives them so much in return.
This could be the kind of political issue that Karl Rove and the Republicans use to beat us over the head with, and that would be a tragic thing.
They seemed kind of elitist and out of touch and talking about people who live in small towns and rural areas throughout America. You know, Americans who believe in the Second Amendment as a constitutional right. Americans who believe in God as a matter of personal faith.
I'm afraid that this gives the Republicans a stick to beat us with.
Now, like some of you may have been, I was taken aback by the demeaning remarks Senator Obama made about people in small-town America.
It just demonstrates a complete misunderstanding of what small-town America is about.
They clearly feel that they have got the hammer in their hands on this one. You can hear from Senator Clinton.
Senator Clinton has to be a little careful in pushing this, because frankly, she hasn't lived in the real world for 25 years. She's lived in a bubble.
She capped the day at a bar in Northwest Indiana where she knocked down a cold beer and a shot of whiskey, another image crafted by her campaign to bolster her blue-collar credentials.